Operating System Assignment Windows 10 and Ubuntu. Evolution of Windows 10 and Ubuntu. The early Windows product before the Windows 10, the Windows product is Windows 1.0. The version release is 1.01. Year of release is 1985. Significant feature is the first retail shipment of the first Windows product require the MS-DOS. Windows 2.0. The version is 2.03. The year release is 1987. Use the real memory model which confines it to maximum of the 1 MB of memory. Windows 3.0. The version is 3.0. Year is 1990. Improve the performance and advance ease of the use require MS-DOS. Windows 3.1. The version is 3.1. Year is 1992. Widely adopted. Commercially successful GUI with more than 1000 enhancements over the 3.0 require MS-DOS. Windows for the workgroup Windows 3.1. The version is 3.11. The year of release is 1993. GUI for small network require MS-DOS. Operating system of home and professional users. Before the release of the Windows 95 operating system, all Windows products were built to run on the top of the MS-DOS operating system. However, this layering technique proved to be a disadvantage. Although it helped the Windows gain the market share among the MS-DOS users, MS-DOS had a little built-in security, could not perform the multitasking, and had no inter-process communication capability. For these needs, Microsoft developed and released a succession of Windows operating systems which is no mere GUIs to appeal to home and office users. Windows 95, the version release is the 4.0, year release is 1995. Significant feature is two operating systems designed to replace the Windows 3, Windows for Workgroups and MS-DOS for single-user desktop computers. Windows 98, the version is 4.1. The year release is the 1998. For PC user, implemented many bug fixes to Windows 95, had more extended hardware support and was fully 32-bit, not directly related to Windows NT. Windows Millennium Edition, the version is 4.9. The year is 2000. Last Windows operating system built on the Windows 95 code. Windows XP Home, the version is NT 5.1. The year release is the 2001. For PC users, a 32-bit operating system built to succeed the Windows 95 and 98, but built on the Windows NT kernel. Windows XP Professional, the version is NT 5.2. The year release is the 2001. For networking and power users built on the Windows NT kernel, the Professional Edition was available in 32-bit and 64-bit version. Windows Vista, the version is NT 6.0. The year release is 2007. Complex operating system will improve the diagnostic and repair tools. Windows 7, the version is the NT 6.1. The year release is 2009. Available in 6 versions, most with 64-bit addressing, designed to address the stability and response shortcomings of Windows Vista. Operating system for network. In the fall of the 1988, Microsoft hired David Cutler to lead the development of the Windows NT operating system. Windows NT Advanced Server version 3.1. The year release is 1993. Significant feature is the first version of NT feature true client and server operating system with support for Intel RISC and multiprocessor system. The Windows NT Server version 3.5. The version is NT 3.5. Year release in 1994. Introduced the back office application suite, require the 4 MB less RAM, and offer the tighter links to NetWare and Unix network through the enhanced TCP IP stack. Windows NT Server version 4.0. NT 4.0. The year release is 1996. Add popular interface for Windows 95 included the support of the DCOM and integrated support for email and internet connectivity. Windows 2000 Server, the NT 5.0, the year is 1999, introduced the S500 Star Directory Service capable security and improved the Distributed Component Object Model (DCOM). Windows Server 2003. The version is NT 5.2. The year release is 2003. Available in Standard Edition, Web Edition, Enterprise Edition, and Data Center Edition. This operating system was designed as a server platform for Microsoft's NET initiative. Windows Server 2000 R2. The version is NT 6.1. The year release is 2009. Upgrade for Windows Server operating system. The Windows Server 2008. The version is NT 6.0. The year release is 2008. Reduce the power consumption, increase the virtualization capability, support up to 64 cores. Windows 8 and Server 2012. In 2012, Microsoft released the Windows 8 to the public. Windows 8 introduced and updated the Start menu, known as the Start screen, a new full-screen application platform, and also announced computer running Windows 8 can boot up much faster than Windows 7. Windows 8 version release is the NT 6.2. Year release is 2012. Significant feature is USB 3.0 support. The Windows Store the ability to run from the USB drive with Windows 2. Windows Server 2012. The version is the NT 6.2. Year of release is 2012. Unlike the predecessor, Windows Server 2012 can switch between the server core and server with the GUI installation option without a full reinstallation. Windows 10 and Server 2016 and Server 2019. Windows 10 is the current release of the Microsoft Windows operating system in 2015. Windows 10 received the new builds on ongoing basis, which are available at no additional cost to users. In addition to additional test builds of the Windows 10 which are available to the Windows insiders. Windows Server 2016 in the 7th release of the Windows Server operating system developed by Microsoft as part of the Windows NT family operating system. It was developed currently with Windows 10 as successor to Windows Server 2012 R2. Windows Server 2019 was announced on the March 20, 2018, and the first Windows Insider preview version was released on the same day. Windows 10 the version 15.07, the year release is 2015. New feature like Cortana, the Microsoft Edge web browser, the ability to build the Windows Store as a window instead of full screen, virtual desktop remain core apps, continuum, and a unified setting app were all features debuted in Windows 10. Windows Server 2016. The version is NT 10.0. The year of release is the 2016. Active Directory Federation Service, Windows Defender, and Remote Desktop Service. Windows 10. The version is 15.11. Year release is 2015. Added many visual tweaks such as more considered context menu and the ability to change the color of the window title bar. A Find My Device feature was added, allowing the users to track their device if they lose them. Windows 10 version 16.07. The year release is 2016. First of several planned updates with the Redstone codename. Tons of the new features were included in the version, including the more integration like Cortana, a dark theme, browser extension, support for the Microsoft Edge. Click to play the Flash by default. Tap pinning web notification, swipe navigation in Edge, and the ability for the Windows Hello to use the finger sensor to sign into a Edge website. Windows 10 version 17.03. The year release is 2017. A new Pen 3D application which allows the user to create and modify 3D models. Integration with Microsoft HoloLens and other mixed reality headsets produced by another manufacturer. Windows My People, which allows the user to manage content, export, scan, broadcasting, support for the newly developed APIs such as the WDDN 2.2. Windows 10 version 17.09. The year release is the 2017, and new features to the photo application which were once available only in Windows Movie Maker. Windows Server 2019. The server is NT 10.0. Year release is 2018. Support for the Kubernetes, the stable v1.14, the support for the Tigera Calico for Windows improved the Windows Defender Advanced Tree Protection ATP. Windows 10 version 18.03. The year of release is 2018 and upgrade to the task view screen such that it has the ability to show the past activity and let user resume them. Windows 10 version 18.09. The year release is 2018. Codename is 19H1. New screenshot tool close the snip and sketch. Make the text bigger and easier accessibility and clipboard history and cloud sync. Windows 10 the version is 19.03. The year of release is 2019. Codename is 19H2. Windows Sandbox, which allows the user runs the program in a throwaway virtual window. The Windows 10 version 19 and 9 2019 it unlocked the many features that were already present but hidden and disabled on 19 and 3, such as auto-expanding the menu on start while hovering the mouse on it, OneDrive integration of Windows Search and creating events for the taskbar cloud. Windows 10 the version 2004, the year release is 2020. Codename is 20H1. It introduced several new features such as the renaming, virtual desktop, GPU temperature control and type of disk on Task Manager, chat-based interface and window appearance for Cortana, cloud reinstalling and quick searches depend for the region for search home. Next is the evolution of Ubuntu. Ubuntu OS first launched in the year 2004. Ubuntu 4.10, the version release is the 4.10, year release is 2004. The significant feature is the Firefox Web Browser 0, GNOME 2.8, GIMP 2.0.2, the Retomobos, the 0.8.5, the Evolution 2.0 and the Open Office 1.1.2 security update with the 18 months support. S3 86 4.3 with the improved hardware support. Ubuntu 5.04, Ubuntu, the version is a Ubuntu 5.04. The year release is 2005. New feature including an update manager, upgrade notifier, read ahead at the grid map, suspend, hibernate and standby support, dynamic frequency scaling for processor, Ubuntu hardware database, key start installation and apt authentication. Ubuntu 5.10. Ubuntu 5.10, the year of release is 2005. New feature including a graphical bootloader, a splash and add remove application tool, a menu editor, a la carte and easy language selector, logical volume management support, full HULIT, the Pekka printer support, OEM installer support, the new Ubuntu logo in the top left, and the Launchpad integration for the bug reporting and the software development. Ubuntu 6.06 LTS, the version is the 6.06, the year release to 2006. New feature including the having the live CD and install the CD merged onto the one disk, a graphical installer of the live CD, Ubiquiti, Unsplash on shutdown as well as the startup, a network manager for easy switching of the multiple wire and wireless connection, human loose team implemented using the Tango guidelines based on the clear looks and the featuring orange color instead of brown, and the GDB graphical installer for the package file. Ubuntu 6.10, the version is the 6.10, the year release is 2006. New feature including a heavily modified human team, Upstart, Init Daemon, automated crash report, apport, Tomboy note taking application, and F-Sport photo manager. Ubuntu 7.04, the version is the 7.04, the year release is 2007. New feature, migration assistant to help the former Microsoft Windows user transition to Ubuntu, support for the kernel-based virtual machine, assist the code and restricted the drivers installation including the Adobe Flash, Java MP3 support, easier installation of a NVIDIA and ARTI drivers, combis desktop effect, support for Wi-Fi protected access, the addition of the Sudoku and chess, this user analyzer, genome control center, and the zero con support for many devices. Ubuntu 7.10. The version is 7.10. The year release is 2007. New feature among the app Armor Security Framework, fast desktop search, a Firefox plugin manager, Ubuntu, a graphical configuration tool for the sROG, full NTFS support the read and write via NTFS 3G, and a revamped printing system with the PDF printing by default. Commit Fusion was enabled as default in Ubuntu 7.10 and fast user switching was added. Ubuntu 8.04 LTS. The version is 8.04 LTS. The year release is 2008. New feature among them the tracker desktop search integration, Browser, the disk burner transmission, BitTorrent client, VNAND VNC client system sound through the pass audio and Active Directory authentication and login using the light was open. In addition, Ubuntu 8.04 include the update for better Tango compliance, various complete usability improvement, automatic wrapping, and releasing of the mouse cursor when running on a VMware virtual machine, and an easier method to remove Ubuntu. Ubuntu 8.10, the version is 8.10, the year release is 2008. New feature including improvement to mobile computing and desktop scalability, increased flexibility for internet connectivity, and Ubuntu Lite USB creator and a guest account which allow others to use a computer, allowing very limited user rights. Ubuntu 9.04, the version is 9.04. The year release is 2009. New feature included the faster boot time integration of the web service and application into the desktop interface, a new splash screen, a new login screen, and also support for the both webcam, hot plugin, and netbooks. A new notification system notify the OST and Teams. The Ubuntu 9.10, the version is 9.10. The year release is the 2009. Debuted of a new application called Ubuntu Software Center and unify the package management. Ubuntu the 10.04, the version is 10.04. The year release is the 2010. Improve the support of NVIDIA proprietary graphic drivers while switching to the open source NVIDIA graphic driver, Nova by default. The Ubuntu 10.10, the year release is 2010. New feature included the new Unity interface for the netbook edition, a new default photo manager, short while replacing the export, the ability to package the application in the software center, and an official Ubuntu the phone user by default. Ubuntu 11.04, the version is the Ubuntu 11.04. The year release is 2011. New application include the Mozilla Firefox 4 and LibreOffice, which replaced the OpenOffice org. The OpenStack cloud computing the platform was added in this release. Ubuntu 11.10. The Ubuntu 11.10 is the version and the year release is the 2011. The placement of the Ubuntu button of the launcher instead of the panel, the auto hiding of the window control, and the global menu of the maximize the windows, the introduction of the more transparency into the dash and the panel when the dash was open, and the introduction of the Windows control of the dash. Ubuntu 12.04. The version is 12.04. The year release is 2012. New head-up display HUD feature that allow the hotkey searching for application menu item for the keyboard without the needing the mouse. The shutter wall say that the HUD will ultimately replace the menu in Unity application, but for Ubuntu 12.04, at least the menus will remain. The Ubuntu 12.01, the version is 12.10. The year release is 2012. Improve the bootart sequence and login screen, dropping Unity 2D in the favor of the lower hardware requirement for Unity 3D. Red allow the dialog and toolbars for the head-up display and a vanilla version for the Genome Shell as an option. Ubuntu 12, Ubuntu 13 and 04. The version is 13 and 30.04. The year release is 2013. Some enhancement in this release. Ubuntu the 13.10, Ubuntu 30.10 is the version. The year release is 2013. The new feature is the new Smart Scope feature. Ubuntu 14.04, the version is the 14.04, the year release is 2014. The feature support the smartphones, tablet, TV and smart screen. New mobile application is a redesigned USB startup disk creator to a new phone version at the Genome Control Center called the United Control Center and default SSD train support. Genome 3.1 is installed by default. The Ubuntu 14.10, the version is the 14.10, the year release is the 2014. The bug fixes incremental quality improvements. The Ubuntu 15.04, the version is the 15.04, year release is the 2015. Models improvement in Intel Haswell graphic performance and bigger improvement for AMD Radeon graphic cards using the open source Radeon R600 and Radeon SI Gallium 3D drivers. Ubuntu 15.10, the version is the 15.10, the year release is 2015. The feature is eliminated the disappearing Windows Edge scroll bars in the favor of the upstream Genome scroll bars, a move designed to save the developer time in the creating patches and updates. Ubuntu 16.04, the version is 16.04, the year release is 2016. The release adds support for Chef JFF file system, the LSD hypervisor using the second for OpenStack and the stack package will be supported. It will use the system instead of the Upstart and its init system. This release will replace the Ubuntu Software Center with Genome software and eliminate the empathy and the Braziller from the ISO file. Ubuntu 16.10, the version is 16.10, the year release 2016. This release feature a maintenance version of Unity 7 but offer Unity 8 package included in the ISO. The Ubuntu 17.04, the version is the 17.04, year release 2017. This release draws support for the 32-bit PowerPC architecture following the same move by the upstream Debian project. The Ubuntu 17.10, the version is the 17.10, the year release is 2017, use the Genome Sound interface and replace the S11 with the WLAN display server. Ubuntu 18.04, the version is 18.04, year release is 2018. New features such as color emotion, a new to-do application pre-installed in the default installation and added the option of a minimum install to the Ubuntu 18.04 LTS installer, which only install a web browser and system tools. Ubuntu the 18.10, the version is 18.10, the year release 2018, a new named Yaru, a new icon Din Suru. Installation speed are faster due to lossless compression algorithm known as the Z standard. Startup speed of the pre-installed stack application will also improve. Ubuntu 19.04, the version is 19.04, the year release is the 2019. A new icon set increase the performance, smoother animation, night light intensity control, and advanced application permission. The Ubuntu 19.10, the version is 19.10, the year release is the 2019. Experimental support for the JFF file system is now available from the installer can be chosen beside the EST4 file system. The Ubuntu 20.04, the version is 20.04, year release 2020, enable support for the ESFAT file system and the open source WireGuard VPN, as well as integration with LifePatch, which allow for the reboot-free kernel update.
Okay, my name is Muhammad Amrul Azandi, and today I would like to present about memory management, Windows 10 versus Ubuntu. 1. Data structure. In Windows 10, Windows 10 manages their virtual memory in a tree data structure. For Ubuntu, manage their virtual memory in a linked list data structure. But if the number of entries become greater than 32, linked list will convert into a tree data structure. For paging, Windows 10 cluster demand paging, where all pages will be brought into the memory simultaneously. 8 pages are brought in the memory simultaneously. For Ubuntu, demand paging, where pages which are not needed will not be swept into the memory. Ubuntu will only swaps only necessary pages into memory. 3. Address structure. Windows 10 divided into 2 parts, which are page number and page offset. Ubuntu linear address is broken into 4 parts, which are global directory, middle directory, page table, and offset. 4. Page management. Windows 10 use first in, first out. The oldest page is chosen for replacement. Page fault rate may increase when we increase number of frame, low performance, and maximum number of page fault. Ubuntu, least recently used. Page that is not used for a long period of time is selected as victim page and replaced. Implemented into two ways, counter and stack. In counter, each page table entry is associated with the time of use field. The page with the smallest time value is replaced. In stack, the page at the bottom is removed and put at the top of the stack. Least recently used is always at the bottom of the stack. Question number 2. Limitation of max or min memory required. For 32-bit, all addition of Windows 8, Windows 7, Windows Vista, and Windows XP and Linux. 64-bit, XP Professional, Windows Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8, as well as Mac OS X and Linux. For memory limits, 32-bit, the default 32-bit Windows operating system OS configuration provides up to 4 GB of addressable memory space divided equally between the kernel and the user application. With 4 GB of physical memory available, 2 GB will be allocated to the kernel and 2 GB to the application memory. The kernel mode address space is shared across processes, and the application mode access space is allocated for each user process. Each process has its own space. 64-bit. The 64-bit Windows operating system addressable memory space is shared between active application and the kernel. The kernel address space includes a system page table entry (PTE) space. The default 64-bit Windows operating system OS configuration provides up to 16 TB of addressable memory space divided equally between the kernel and the user application, with 16 TB of physical memory available. 8 TB virtual address space will be allocated to the kernel and 8 TB virtual address space to user application memory. The kernel virtual address space is shared across processes. Each 64-bit process has its own space, while each 32-bit application runs in a virtual 2 GB Windows on Windows. For the compatibility, 32-bit applications require 32-bit OS and CPUs. For 64-bit applications require a 64-bit OS and CPU. Compare recommend. For normal usage, we recommend Windows because Windows is simple and is user-friendly to those that do not have programming background. Besides, Windows is marketed as an OS for running almost all productivity applications too. For server usage, Linux. Linux may have many desktop environments to choose from. Most of them are if not all, lightweight in nature. They consume low system resource compared to that of Windows. Linux was built with the aim of being scalable to a large number of hardware configuration and also for using it as a live OS.
Hello, and I would like to talk about process management, and would like also to focus about how both operating system, which is Linux and Windows, handle their process management when it comes to many process requests for CPU resources. Okay, so at the beginning, we all know that Windows and Ubuntu or Linux operating systems, both of them present a big visual and usage-wise gap. And if we like to compare between Windows 10 and Linux, we will see that Windows SQL Server has a local monitor that attempts to detect and resolve deadlocks automatically, only possible because the database have a rollback feature. And if we look back to Linux operating system or Ubuntu, we will know that Linux don't have any internal mechanism for dealing with deadlocks. The type of monitoring used by the more controlled database model is simply not cost effective for the rare time deadlocks occur. So, and also we know that operating system Windows and Linux, each of them can use many CPU type, and we choose here to compare between very popular two CPUs, which is Intel and AMD. And if we look at this diagram, we will see that AMD has many types, and CPU Intel has many types also. So if at the past the Intel was very successful if we compare with AMD, but now at this time I think AMD also has achieved a good level in this type of CPU. So if we just want to compare between AMD or Intel, we will see that AMD and Intel has many types. For example, AMD has Ryzen 9, Ryzen 7, Ryzen 5, and Intel has i9, i7, i5 until i3, and each of them has AMD Ryzen 9 has, for example, a number of cores like 12 cores. AMD Ryzen 7 has 8 cores. Intel i9 has two types also, 9900, sorry, KF, and this one has 8 cores, and the other type also had 8 cores. Each of them has a special speed for itself. So AMD Ryzen 9, for example, has 3.8 gigahertz for the speed and for responding the operating system. For example, AMD Ryzen 7 3700X has 8 cores and the speed is 3.6 gigahertz. So if you look at this diagram, you will realize that Intel and AMD has many types, and each one has his specification. So you can look at this diagram and choose what CPU is suitable with you, more suitable with you. Also, if we want to compare between Intel, like for example Core i3, Core i5, Core i7, Core i3 and i5 are both mid-range CPUs, and Core i7 is high-end CPU in the market. So the difference between all of this, the number of cores, clock speed. So the difference is how many cores that this core has. For example, Core i3 and Core i5, I think both of them has the same number of cores, but i7 has more cores. So also you can compare between them. Also, if we want to compare between AMD Ryzen 7 or Ryzen 5 or Ryzen 9, So also each one of them has his speed and has his number of cores. So also you can realize which one is suitable with you or with your work. The last thing we have to know that we need to compare between both operating system, which is Windows and Ubuntu, for normal usage and server usage. Actually, normal usage is everyday usage by normal user, and server usage is server environment. So Windows offers a large range of support services, both within the system and online. So there is also a comprehensive specialist lecturer available aimed at users with various levels of knowledge. And server usage, as we said, server environment. So the Linux kernel and most of the distribution are open source and often available under GNU, general, what that's mean, general public license. As with the most technology, though applications work better with the similarly designed application. So that's all for process management.
Hi, a very good morning to Dr. Muhammad Faizal. My name is Gormeke, ID number CD19047. Today, I would like to present about the part of file management. I will start with the file system hierarchy of Windows 10 and Ubuntu. So for Windows 10 user, they will usually put their files folders almost anywhere, such as on C drive, D drive, or E drive. A Windows operating system will organize its drives, folders, and files in a hierarchical folder structure, and all the files are stored on a computer inside folders. Folders are used to organize a computer's files so that they can be found easier. However, for Ubuntu, also known as the Linux, will choose to have a single hierarchical directory structure, which means that everything will start from the directory, also represented by the simple front slashes, and then expands into subdirectories instead of having so-called drives. And here is the further example. You can see that the Windows 10, the all files is saved in the drives or anywhere. But for Ubuntu, the files have to save in the specific subdirectories. For Windows 10 operating system, application will log in exclusive access to files. For example, when I opening this file and in the same time I want to rename it or delete it at the drive C, this error message will come out saying the file is in use. However, in Ubuntu operating system, the application would not lock exclusive access to files as often as they do on Windows. In Linux, you can generally delete or modify the video file as it was playing. And this is the Linux file system hierarchical. So this is the root directory, and there are a lot of subdirectories under the root directory, and each subdirectory has its own function. I will explain the function for the last part. And this is the system file hierarchical for Windows 10. All the files will be saved in the subfolders or folders, and the folders will be saved in the disk drives. For question 2, I'm going to present about the naming convention of Windows 10 versus Ubuntu. So on Windows, we cannot have two files with the same name in a folder. For example, when I want to save the files with the name of report and the R is in capital letter,
and the another files I will also save in the same name report but full of capital letter, and this too will show an error message, which is there's already a file with the same name in this location, which means that the Windows file system isn't that case sensitive, so it treats these both names as the same file. However, on Linux, the file system is case sensitive. This means that you could have files named with all small letter or all capital letter, or even one capital letter and one small letter. Each file which would have different contents. Linux will treat the capitalized letters and lowercase letters as different characters. Furthermore, Windows will usually use the backslashes like this example, and the Linux will use the front slashes. In addition, in Microsoft Windows system, file names will consist of two parts. The first one is a user-designated name, and the another one is an extension which is determined by the type of the file. The two are separated by a period. For example, the OS lab and underscore section 02. This is two parts with the extension, and then for Linux, the file names can contain the null character, which is used to terminate segments of text. The spaces are permitted, although they are best avoided because they can be incompatible with legacy software in some cases. File names only use alphanumeric characters, mostly lowercase, underscores, hyphen, and periods. Next, the file name were limited to 14 bytes, also equivalent to 14 characters in early Unix system. However, modern Unix-like systems support long file names, usually up to 255 bytes in length. File names can be as short as single character. So for the last part is how both Windows 10 and Linux operating system handles their system-related files. But before that, we must know what is the shell, which plays very important roles in the operating system because it provides several ways to manage file system. The shell provides a function sh file operation that allows an application to programmatically move, copy, rename, and also delete the files. The shell should support some additional file management capabilities. For example, the HTML documents can be connected to related files such as the graphic files or style sheets. When the document is moved or copied, the connected files are automatically moved or copied as well. For systems that are available to more than one user, files can be managed on a per-user basis. Users may easily access to their data files, but not to files belonging to other users. If a document files are added or modified, they can be added to shell's list of recent documents. When the user clicks the documents command on the Start menu, a list of links to the documents appear. This document discusses how these file management technologies work. It then outlines how to use the shell to move, copy, rename, and delete files, and how to manage objects in the recycle bin. For the user file management that mentioned just now, it allows files to be associated with a particular user so the files will remain hidden from other users. In terms of the file system, the files are stored under the user's profile folder, typically in the C drive, Documents and Setting username on Windows 2000 system. This feature allows many individuals to use the same computer while maintaining the privacy of their files from other users. Different users can have different programs available. Next, for the My my documents and my pictures folders. This purpose of the files This purpose of the folders is to provide a straightforward and secure way for users to access their document and picture files on a system that might have multiple users. Each user is assigned separate file system folders for his or her files. For example, the location of a user's documents folder in the file system is typically something like documents and setting in the C drive, and then backslash username and backslash the my documents. There's no need for users to know anything about the physical location of their file system folders. They simply access their files through the My Documents icon by calling the desktop's iShell folder and pass display name method. So for Linux operating system, how they handle their related files, how the Linux organize, store and track system related files. They have an effective management which requires processes which translate into a tree-like structure on the hard disk. There are a number of key directories which house some fundamentally important system, user and application files in a Linux file system, as the tree-like structure that I have mentioned in the question 1. So what is the function of each directory? First, I will start from the root directory, which is the starting point of the directory tree. For bin subdirectory, it is usually used for essential binary files, such as the commands that are needed by both the system administrator and normal users. Usually also contains the shells such as the bash. And then continue with the boot subdirectory, which is usually used for the static files of the bootloader, and dev directory for files needed to access host-specific device, and the host-specific system configuration files will always save in the etc subdirectory, and lib subdirectory save the essential share libraries and kernel modules. For media subdirectory, it is used for the mount points for remover media, and MNT subdirectory is used for the mount point for temporarily mounting a file system. For OPT, which is the optional directory, is for add-on application, software package, and root subdirectory is for home directory for the super user root. For SRV subdirectory is for data for services provided by the system, and temporary files is saved in the TMP directory. For USR subdirectory is saving the secondary hierarchy with read-only data, and VAR subdirectory for variable data such as the log files. And last for the Windows, the subdirectory is only available if you have both Microsoft Windows and Linux installed on your system, which contains the Windows data. So I would like to discuss about the pros and cons for Windows 10 and Linux. For Windows 10, it is more easier for us to use because Windows is simple and is user-friendly to those that do not have programming background. And Microsoft Windows also supports a wide range of hardware, and most of the hardware manufacturers support their hardware in Microsoft Windows due to its larger user base. On the another side, open source operating systems like Linux have a comparatively smaller user base, and hence only some manufacturers support their hardware in open source operating system. While for Linux, in Linux, command line is very useful tool for administration and daily tasks, but for end users, it doesn't make much difference. Linux also has various distributions which are highly customizable based on users' need. Besides, Linux is also more secure than Windows, where hackers or developers of viruses will find difficult to break through Linux. In contrast, the cons for Windows 10 is the Windows has very few customization options available. Windows is also the major target for developers of viruses and malware, and it is most vulnerable. Without antivirus software in Windows, we have command line but can't use as Linux command line. We need to go running and enter cmd, then command line only will open. For Linux, it is more complicated to install and normally used by those who having programming background. Linux also the software lacks of the GUI and is therefore not preferred by many users. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, for security management, the security management function of an operating system help implementing mechanisms that secure and protect the computer system internally as well as externally. User and password authentication and management, Windows 10. Configure password policy in Windows 10 and also configure picture password and pins. For Ubuntu, we have root. Users are encouraged to make use of a tool by the name of sudo to carry out system administrative duties. Sudo allows an authorized user to temporarily elevate their privilege using their own password instead of having to know the password belonging to the root account. The simple yet effective methodology provides accountability for all user action and gives the administrator granular control over which action a user can perform with set privileges. Ubuntu also have user profile security, password privacy, and password expiration. Okay, securing kernel from unauthorized access. For Windows 10, we have Credential Manager, Credential Guard, Microsoft Passport, Kernel Pool Protections, Control Flow Guards, and Microsoft Edge, and Internet Explorer 11. For Ubuntu, we have no open ports, live kernel live patcher, file system capabilities, kernel handling, syscall filtering, DM PSG restrictions, USB guard, and also add-on. That's all.
Next, explain how both operating systems handle their security management, focusing on related the third-party hardware and software if needed. Windows 10, Microsoft Defender Advanced Threat Protection, Microsoft Defender Antivirus Software. Microsoft Defender ATP is a unified platform for the preventative protection, post-breach detection, automated investigation and response. Microsoft Defender ATP protects endpoints from the cyber threat, detects advanced attacks and the data breaches, automates the security and improves the security posture, threat and vulnerability management. The built-in capability uses a game-changing risk-based approach to the discovery, prioritization, and remediation of the endpoint vulnerabilities and the misconfiguration. Attack surface reduction. The attack surface reduction set of the capabilities provide the first line of defense in the stack by ensuring the configuration settings are properly set and exploit mitigation techniques are applied. This set of capabilities resist attack and exploitation. Next generation protection. To further reinforce the security perimeter of your network, Microsoft Defender ATP uses next generation protection designed to catch all types of the emerging threats. Endpoint detection and response. Endpoint detection and response capabilities are put in place to detect, investigate, and respond to the intrusion, attend, and active the breaches. With the advanced hunting, you have a query-based threat hunting tool that lets you proactively find the breaches and create the custom detection. Automated investigation and the remediation. In conjunction with being able to quickly respond to advanced attacks, Microsoft Defender ATP offers the automatic investigation and remediation capabilities that help reduce the volume of alerts in minutes at scale. Microsoft Threat Expert. Microsoft Defender ATP's new Managed Threat Hunting service provides the proactive hunting, prioritization, and additional context and insight that further empower Security Operations Center (SOC) to identify and respond to the threat quickly and accurately. Trusted Platform Module (TPM) hardware. Trusted Platform Module (TPM) technology is designed to provide hardware-based security-related functions. A TPM chip is a secure cryptoprocessor that is designed to carry out the cryptographic operations. For the Ubuntu, the Uncomplicated Firewall (UFW). The Linux kernel in Ubuntu provides a packet filtering system called NetFilter, and the traditional interface for manipulating the NetFilter are the iptables suite of the commands. Iptables provide a complete firewall solution that is both highly configurable and highly flexible. The Uncomplicated Firewall is the frontrunner for the iptables and is particularly well suited for the host-based firewall. The UFW provides a framework for the managing NetFilter as well as the command line interface for manipulating the firewall. UFW aims to provide an easy-to-use interface for people unfamiliar with firewall concepts, while at the same time simplify the complicated iptables commands to help an administrator who knows what he or she is doing. UFW is an upstream of other distribution and the graphical front-ends. Security Certification FIPS-I 42. The FIPS 142 is a U.S. government computer security standard. It defines security requirements related to the design and implementation of the cryptography module. It is a requirement for the U.S. federal agency to use the FIPS 142 validated cryptography to protect the sensitive information. A common use for the public key cryptography is encrypting the application traffic using a secure socket layer (SSL) or transport layer security (TLS) connection. One example configuring the APECA to provide the HTTP protocol over the SSL TLS. This allows a way to encrypt the traffic using a protocol that does not itself provide the encryption. A certificate is a method used to distribute a public key and other information about a server and the organization who is responsible for it. Certificates can be digitally signed by a certification authority or CA. The SCA is a trusted third party that has confirmed that the information contained in the certificate is accurate. The mechanism of preventing Microsoft Defender Advanced Threat Protection. The threat vulnerability management include the real-time discovery, real-time device inventory. Device onboarded to the Microsoft Defender ATP automatically report and push the vulnerability and security configuration data to the dashboard. Configuration posture, visibility into organizational security configuration and misconfiguration. Issues are reported in the dashboard with the actionable security recommendation, intelligent driver prioritization, exposing the emerging attack in the wild through its advanced cyber data and 3. The analytics platform. 3. Vulnerability management dynamically aligns the prioritization of its security recommendation to focus on vulnerabilities that are currently being exploited in the wild and emerging the threats that pose the highest risk. Pinpointing active breaches, Microsoft Defender ATP correlates threat and vulnerability management and EDR insight to provide an unique ability to prioritize the vulnerabilities that are currently being exploited in an active breach within the organization. The next seamless remediation, alternate mitigation, the threat and the vulnerability management provide the insight on additional mitigation such as configuration changes that can reduce the risk associated with the software vulnerabilities. Real-time remediation status, Microsoft Defender ATP provide the real-time monitoring of the status and progress of the remediation activities across the organization. Next generation capabilities. Real-time endpoint detection of the response EDR insights to correlate with the endpoint vulnerabilities built-in remediation process through the Microsoft Intune and Configuration Manager. Attack surface reduction. Attack surface reduction reduce the vulnerabilities attack surface in your application with the intelligent rules that help stop malware. The malware-based isolation protect and maintain the integrity of a system as it starts and while it's running. Validate system integrity through a local and remote attestation and use container isolation for the Microsoft Edge to help guard against the malicious website. Next generation protection. Cloud deliver protection. This includes the near instant detection and blocking of the new emerging threats, behavior-based heuristic, and the real-time antivirus protection. This includes always-on scanning using the file and process behavior monitoring and other heuristics. It also includes detecting and blocking the apps that are deemed unsafe. Endpoint detection and response. Alerts. The alert screen shows a list of the alerts that were flagged from device in your network. By default, the quick display alerts seen in the last 30 days in a group view. The more recent alerts are shown at the top of the list, helping you to see the most recent alert first. Response orchestration. Quickly respond to detect the attacks by the isolating device or collecting an investigation package. Automated investigation and remediation. When an alert is triggered, a security playbook goes into effect. Depending on the security playbook, an automatic investigation can start. For example, suppose a malicious file resides on a device. When that file is detected, an alert is triggered. The automated investigation process begins. The Microsoft Defender ATP checks to see if the malicious file is present on any other device in the organization. Microsoft Threat Expert target attack notification. Microsoft Threat Expert provides the proactive hunting for the most important threats to your network, including the human adversary instruction, hands-on keyboard attack, and advanced attack like cyber espionage. Expert on demand. Customers can engage our security expert directly from within Microsoft Defender Security Center for timely and accurate response. Experts provide the insight needed to better understand the complex threats affecting your organization, from alert inquiries potentially compromised device root cause of a suspicious network connection to additional threat intelligence regarding ongoing advanced persistent threat campaigns. TPM. The chip includes the multiple physical security mechanisms to make it tamper resistant, and malicious software is unable to tamper with the security function of the TPM. It includes the generate, store, and limit the use of the cryptographic keys. Use TPM technology for platform device authentication by using the TPM unit RSA key, which is built in itself. Help ensure the platform integrity by taking and storing the security measurements. For the uncomplicated firewall UFW. Two fundamental mechanisms used by the firewall to perform these tasks are packet filtering and the proxy server. Using packet filtering, the firewall reviews the header information for incoming and outgoing the internet packets to verify that the source address, the destination address, and the protocol are all correct. For example, if a packet arrives from the internet outside the network with the internal source address, which should be from inside the network, the firewall could be expected to refuse its entry. A proxy server hides important network information from outside by making the network server invisible. To do so, the proxy server intercepts the request for the access to the network, decides it is a valid request, and if so, then passes the request to an appropriate server that can fulfill the request, all without revealing the MAC of the network, the server, of other information that might reside on them. Likewise, if information is to be passed from the network to the internet, the proxy server relays the transmission but without revealing anything about the network. Proxy servers are invisible to the user but are critical to the success of the firewall. The last encryption cryptography for the FIPS 142. Once the message receiver has the product, known as the public key, it can be posted in any public place, even an online directory for anyone to see because the private key cannot be decoded from the public key. Then anyone who wants to send a confidential message to the receiver uses the encryption software and insert the public key as a variable. The software then scrambles the message before it's sent to the receiver. When received, the receiver uses the private key in the encryption software and the confidential message is revealed. Should someone else receive the encrypted message and attempt to open it with the private key, that is incorrect. The resulting message could be scrambled, unreadable code.